Hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk about my experience with my recent hospital stay for 5 days. So I have my notes here and I put some things down. I'm going to be glancing down to read through my experience and how I listed it here. So it started off when I went in for my regular OB checkup. I thought I would ask about the pain I was experiencing, whether they were contractions or maybe pain or just both maybe. She suggested I go into labor and delivery to be monitored. I dropped off my son with my husband since I had him for this regular appointment since I didn't think that it would matter. I headed upstairs probably between 9:45 and 10. I believe they originally thought they were going to send me home, but since I was under 32 weeks and I was contracting some, they decided to transfer me. It was about 6:45 when my husband had dropped my kids off and met me at the hospital to be transferred. By this time, I had been transferred and made it. I was contracting about 3 minutes apart. They gave me steroid shot to help his lungs develop, which is usually done in a dose of 2 about, I can't remember how long they said apart. I think it was 24 hours or something. They started me on magnesium and placed the epidural for pain. I asked for it since I wasn't able to move around with all the medicine monitors and IVs, so I just thought it was easier just to get the epidural, and if I happened to give birth, it would already be in place since I have a scheduled C-section. I just thought it would be easier just to have it in place, and I know that in the past it has slowed down contractions for me or slowed down my labor in dilating, which was another factor that I started dilating before I was transferred, and I believe that was also part of the reason why I was transferred in the first place. I would say things stabilized on and off throughout the 5 days. It seemed like whenever the medication was in place, it was okay, but when they started to back off it, things had started up again. We also had to switch a pill that was meant to stop contractions because my blood pressure was pretty low on it, and so they switched me to a different one. It was pretty disappointing that the contractions had started up again, because when things had stabilized I thought it was going to get better and it didn't, and it was pretty frustrating because nobody seemed to know what the problem was, and it had lasted longer than it happened in the past, or it had been in the past, because I had had something similar with my other son, but that time I only stayed in for like 2 days and things were pretty stable, but this time it just seemed like things weren't getting any better. So now I will go over how I felt about the staff. Most of it was positive and they were good to talk to. It was nice to be able to ask them questions if you wanted to, which I didn't because there were so many things happening that it was hard to ask questions when things were happening. So I would say they explained it pretty well, and that you could always ask them if you wanted something or need something. They were pretty nice and very open with you. There were a couple of doctors I felt were not understanding and cold about the situation, and I even had to ask one of the doctors to not be seen by this doctor again because I felt like he was just very not understanding, and I just didn't feel comfortable if I had to give birth by this doctor. since it was just not working out, and I had not experienced this by really any of the other doctors in the hospital, so I felt like it was better just to not see this one again. In the end, we were released after 5 days, which was a relief and kind of scary because knowing that pain was still a factor and I did not leave with all the pain problems solved as I thought they would be, I was glad that when I was there, I had people visit me during that time to support me, and I appreciate any help we had during that time. Also, I know that I probably missed or skipped some things since I didn't record at the time. I'm only going off of the most noted things. I think it's important to also note this is my personal experience and is only how I feel about things and what I went through. And I think it's important to understand somebody may be feeling how somebody may be feeling during those hard times. And it may be different than yours since everybody deals with experiences differently. And I think it's important to support those around you going through hard times and understand that it might not be easy for them just because they might not talk about the experience or maybe be telling you how much pain they're in. I think it's important to understand and be compassionate during those times. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.